You might notice something different about this video, and that is that it sounds a little bit better. I bought myself a lapel mic and it finally arrived, and so hopefully that'll just make my recordings a little bit more even. They should sound a lot more standard. Some of the traffic noise might get cut out. Just let me know what you guys think about the new audio. Now, this audio is going to cut in about halfway in today's video because that's when it arrived, and I was just so excited I wanted to get using it because some of the audio has been really bad and I've been doing everything I can in post to make it better. But the cleaner the audio is that you record, the better the audio is for the audience who is listening to it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I've pulled out the dining table, given it a nice good sanding to get rid of those stains and footprints and stuff that were on the board. And to protect it, I'm going to give it a few coats of polyurethane. I've taken the desk out and I'm going to give it a coat of polyurethane too. I sanded it down as best as I could, but it's a really not a very good piece of plywood. Definitely something that I want to replace in the future, but for now I need to protect it. While I'm oiling everything else, the desk needs oiling, so I've gone over it with a coat of linseed oil. And then it occurred to me that the pallets down here don't have any sort of protection, so I need to sand those down and give them a coat of polyurethane. I've started to add pallet wood going along the side because I need something to measure my shelves off of. So it's just going to be this one for now because I'm going to do something a little bit fancier with that side. So this is a shelf that'll be a part of the cabinet. Now, we're looking at it as we would. This is an angle, and then these three sides here could potentially have things fall off. So I've just put a lip, and then these two sides will sort of have walls up against them. Okay, so here's the shelf put in place. And here you can really see why there's this big angle here. It looks a little bit strange for sure, but basically it's so that I'm able to get the water in and out. I've started to finish the paneling on this side, and I've made this part here separate from the top for a reason. This part is going to pull out and have the garbage can attached to it. So I've basically made a door by screwing three of these pallet boards together. I've added a shelf onto the bottom here so that there's something for the garbage can to actually sit on. So I've added in two little cup hooks here so that I can put a bungee cord around it. That way I can remove this really easily, and also when I open this lid it kind of moves it forward a little bit. Okay, so I've put these two decorative hinges down here at the bottom. These are kind of fun, and I found a bunch of really fairly cheap hardware that matches this, so I'm going to use that theme throughout these cabinets here. So now this door comes down like this. So I've just put the garbage in there, and it's just the right fit. Like, that is so close. I've added another board up here, which is just the same board that I cut when I made the door. So now I have this lock here that can keep this in place. I've finished walling off the cabinet on this side. So now this stays at this angle. I added in that little bracket there just because that shelf was moving a little bit and it adds some extra support from the other side. And then this ribbon here is actually just held in place with two eye hooks. Okay, so I've thrown the actual garbage back in place here, and it can be closed like so. The lock can be flicked in place and it's ready for travel. When you want to use the garbage, you just lift that up, open this up. It opens to a comfortable angle where you have full access to the lid and the contents. Now, the reason why I used this type of garbage instead of something else, this is maybe not really meant to be a garbage, but it can be like this, basically locks in place. So when I'm driving down the road, I don't have to worry about my garbage spilling everywhere inside my cabinet. I decided it wasn't quite finished, so I added on this little handle here. This just makes opening the garbage a little bit easier, having something to actually grip onto. Another change that I've made is I replaced those cup hooks with eye screws. This just gives the bungee cord a little bit better grip. Whenever I took the garbage out, when it was just the hooks, the bungee cord would fall off. This way I can still remove it if I want, but it's much more secure. Here's what it looks like underneath the cabinet. It doesn't take up too much room, and when it opens up, it looks like that. These two pocket holes here next to the burner here may end up being exposed, so I'm filling them here with the 3/8 doweling. I've made some changes to the counter. The first thing that I did was that I used pocket holes to screw these two pieces together. And the other thing that I did was I made a cut here. So you can see that the live edge is missing in that section right there. It is not missing here. Basically, when I do get another piece of wood, it'll come out like this, and the live edge will be on that one. So this is just like a little bit of notching so that the counter is sort of seamless there. But because it's going to take me so long to get that other piece of wood, it's really looking like it'll be a while. I want to move on, and I really want to secure this table and get it oiled and all that down so that it's actually usable. I'm thinking it's about time that I gave this worktop an actual coating of mineral oil. It's the same product that I used on the cutting board, and I'm going to be applying it to this entire surface. So I've made two of these drawers exactly like this, and they're going to go on top of the cooler here. I've also started putting in bracing for the drawer slides. Right there at the back, I had to cut away some of the paneling, and I had no good way of doing it, so I used a drill and a pair of pliers, but hopefully this will give me enough room for the drawer slides to go in. On the left-hand side, the two supports run sideways here, horizontally, right where the actual drawer slides are going to go. But on this side, they run vertically because I didn't have anything to basically put them into. I thought that I was going to do this cabinet here a little bit differently, so there's no 2x2 running up this way. So I've had to make some improvisations here, but I think it'll work. The first of these two drawers is installed. You can see here that you have full access. It's a full 20 inches on a 22-inch drawer slide. That means it brings it further back into the cabinet and all the way out, giving you a little bit of extra like travel here. Both of those drawers are now installed. You can see that the top one functions exactly as the bottom one does there. This is today's progress. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but to me it feels like a lot. I made two drawers, framed them out, and got them fully functional and working. This is actually really huge because, as you can see, this place is just a giant mess. So now it's starting to be where I can store things in the drawers while I'm working on it. So here I've put all the hardware that I'm planning to use instead of piling it up on the gas burner and the couch. The front paneling for these drawers will also be made out of pallet wood. So I've taken one piece of pallet wood and cut it into parts for the drawers. So now this part here will come out separately. And when it goes up like back, it sort of keeps that shape of the same board running all the way along. So I'm going to cut a bunch more boards and finish this off. Here's a bit of an update. I've got 3 boards in place. This is a bit of a finicky process, but I'm almost there. I had to take a little bit of a break from adding on the pallets, so I took the opportunity to start adding hardware. So I've put the same sort of bar locks here that I've used throughout the van to stop the drawers from flying out. And then I had all these kind of funky brass looking knobs here that came with the van, so I used different ones for different drawers. I am short one lock and I'll have to pick that up when I'm done. But now I can get back to adding the pallets. So I've added on one more board and I'm going to leave off doing that last edge and instead move on to making the door that goes on this part here. So this will just be a regular sort of swinging hinge door. Sorry about the lighting here. And then after I've done that, I'll go back in and make these drawers, because when this door is shut, these need to be able to open still. And I'm thinking that it might end up being a bit of an issue, right? Like if this is pulling off because the pallets are uneven, these might need some careful trimming, and that'll be easier to do if the boards aren't already attached. I've cut out enough pallets to make a door and screwed the boards together. Now I just need to cut it to match the rough opening. I've cut down the door to the right size. Now I'm going to sand it and put it in place. Okay, so I've installed the door. You might notice something, and that is that I took off one of these boards in the corner here. That's because when I tried to open this, it would hit the edge of the stove, which was something that I hadn't thought about. I used these T-hinges here because I love the look of them, and they're from the same set as the ones that sort of look like butterflies that I used for the garbage. So before I can finish this, I need a way of opening and closing this, so I installed a handle and then also a magnetic locking system here. Basically this is just a catch, and there's a bit of metal right here. And the reason why I've put that there, one, to stop it from opening, but it's a pretty good friction fit. But just basically there's nothing stopping this from going in. There's nothing to catch this lip here, so this is going to help keep the actual door in place. So I've added that board back in, but it's no longer a part of the door. So it still fills that visual space, and I didn't think I'd be able to. But these jugs can still easily go in and out. So that is my solution for that. Because the bottom drawer here has these boards which stick up so far, they were kind of flopping around and they weren't lining up. So I've just put a piece of wood going around here and then screwed them into that, which gives a much more even looking finish. It's taken just about all day, but this is finally finished. All of the drawers work and they sort of meet there nicely in the corner. I ended up basically having to put this piece here, and you can see a little bit down into the cabinets behind there, so that might be something to fix in the future. But basically you can see here that it has just enough clearance. It scrapes a little bit, but I'm okay with that. One thing that I need to get in the habit of is locking and unlocking my drawers. I just fiddled around with this drawer a bunch trying to get it to open, but of course it does come out. That notch fits right over that hinge. Then up here I have a slightly different lock. I tried to make it go horizontally, it just didn't look so good. So here I drilled a hole going up into the countertop so that I can have that one be kind of above it. And again, gravity will just, if there's any doubt, we'll keep that in place there. It's pretty good there. And then of course there's the magnetic lock behind there also keeping it in place.